Imagine a world where the air you breathe becomes your enemy, where a single, invisible particle can seal your fate. This isn't the plot of a science fiction movie. This was the reality on April 26, 1986. This is the story of Chernobyl. In the early hours of that fateful Saturday, deep within the Soviet Union, in what is now modern-day Ukraine, Reactor number 4 of the Chernobyl nuclear power plant was undergoing a routine safety test. A test designed to simulate a power failure, but a combination of a flawed reactor design and a series of grave human errors turned this routine procedure into a catastrophe of unimaginable scale. At 1:23 a.m., a sudden catastrophic power surge occurred. The operators initiated an emergency shutdown, but it was too late. A massive steam explosion, followed by a second, more powerful blast, tore the 1,000-ton steel lid off the reactor core. This wasn't just an accident. It was a detonation that released a radioactive plume, a cloud of poison that would drift across continents. The initial explosion instantly claimed the lives of 2 plant workers. In the immediate aftermath, a fire raged, spewing a toxic brew of radioactive isotopes directly into the atmosphere. The first responders, the heroic firefighters of Pripyat, rushed to the scene. They were told it was a simple roof fire. They had no specialized equipment, no knowledge of the lethal, invisible enemy they were battling. They fought the blaze with water, unaware that every drop was turning into radioactive steam, and every breath was a death sentence. Many of these brave souls would perish from acute radiation sickness within weeks, sacrificing their lives to prevent an even greater disaster. The nearby city of Pripyat, a model Soviet city built to house the plant's workers and their families, slept peacefully, oblivious to the nuclear dragon that had been unleashed just a few kilometers away. Children played in the streets, people went about their daily lives, all while being showered with deadly radioactive fallout. The air had a strange metallic taste, and some people noticed a beautiful ethereal glow in the night sky above the plant. They didn't know it was the glow of ionizing radiation. For 36 hours, the Soviet government remained silent. They attempted to conceal the scale of the disaster from their own people and the world. But you can't hide a cloud of radiation. On April 28th, monitoring stations in Sweden, over 1,000 kilometers away, detected abnormally high levels of radiation. The world started asking questions. The secret was out. Only then did the evacuation of Pripyat begin. Residents were given just a few hours' notice. They were told it was temporary, just for 3 days. Bring only what is necessary, the announcements blared. They left behind their homes, their pets, their entire lives packed into buses, never to return. Pripyat became a ghost town overnight, a silent radioactive testament to the tragedy. The cleanup operation, known as the liquidation, was a monumental effort involving over 500,000 people: soldiers, miners, scientists, and civilians. These liquidators were tasked with decontaminating the area, burying radioactive waste, and, most critically, containing the still-burning reactor core. Miners dug a tunnel beneath the reactor to prevent a meltdown from contaminating the groundwater. Pilots flew helicopters directly over the exposed core, dropping sand, lead, and boron to smother the fire and absorb the radiation, exposing themselves to lethal doses in mere seconds. The long-term consequences have been devastating. The radioactive cloud contaminated vast areas of Ukraine, Belarus, and Russia. The health effects have been studied for decades, with a significant increase in thyroid cancer among those who were children at the time of the accident. The psychological trauma for the survivors and their families is immeasurable. The Chernobyl disaster forced the world to confront the terrifying power of the atom and the catastrophic consequences of its misuse. It exposed the flaws in Soviet secrecy and ultimately contributed to a call for greater openness or glasnost. It was a turning point, a brutal lesson in accountability, safety, and the fragility of our world. Today, The reactor is encased in a massive steel structure called the New Safe Confinement, a sarcophagus designed to contain the radioactive material for the next century. The Chernobyl exclusion zone, a 30-kilometer radius around the plant, remains one of the most radioactive places on Earth. Yet, nature is slowly reclaiming the abandoned city. Trees grow through the floors of empty apartments, and wildlife roams the deserted streets of Pripyat. It's a haunting, surreal landscaper, a stark reminder of what happens when humanity's ambition outpaces its wisdom. The story of Chernobyl is not just a story of failure and disaster. It is also a profound story of heroism, sacrifice, and resilience. It's a reminder of the price paid by ordinary people for the mistakes of a powerful few, compels us to remember the victims, honor the heroes, and never forget the day the world stood still, holding its breath as the poison wind blew. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey back to one of history's most sobering moments. If this story moved you, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel for more deep dives into the events that shaped our world. Stay curious and stay safe.